I am woman phenomenally. Phenomenal woman? That's me, Maya Angelou. Welcome to this segment of the Afrocentrist podcast, The Woman, Her Story, and Her Impact, where I get to speak to women from across the globe, sharing their stories and how they are impacting their world. Coming to you every Wednesday, 4 p.m. GST. Of course, with your favorite show host, the energetic EJ. So make it a date with me every Wednesday. The Afrocentrist podcast, proudly African. Hello, guys, and welcome to yet another episode on the Afrocentrist podcast. And on this segment, The Woman, Her Story, Her Impact, where I get to speak to women from across the world, sharing their stories and how they are impacting their world. And it is always, always a pleasure to speak with a new woman from another part of the world, right? And even before this particular session came up, I got into conversation with my guest today, and she gave me a new perspective. And right now, I'm feeling like, who am so powerful as a woman, and especially as a Black woman. Yeah. So today on the show, I'm going to be introducing you to a beautiful, gorgeous Black woman who is, what caught me about her profile when I saw it was like, really? There's something like this? Okay, I want to know. I want to find out the story behind it, right? And I'm going to bring her on board, right? So today, my guest is Collette Gee, and she is a dating and relationship specialist. She's an author and a breakup coach. Yeah, there goes the wait, what? So she's somebody who helps people navigate the crazy ups and downs of dating and relationships and helps people get into a healthy relationship. Not only that, but how to get out of bad ones. And I think that is so needed, right? So she's been featured on huge platforms like ABC and WGN TV Chicago morning news. She's been on London Live. She's been on TLC Network. She's been featured on Huffington Post. So I mean, we're talking to somebody here today, and it's such a pleasure. She's even also been on several podcasts. I saw some of her videos on YouTube, so you can check her out as well. Her name again is Collette Gee, and it is such a pleasure that I'm hosting her on the Afrocentrist podcast and on this particular segment. So right about now, it's that time where you sit back, relax, grab your cup of tea, your cup of coffee, or your bottle of water, and let us find out, who is Collette Gee? And why, or what's the story behind her being a breakup coach, among other things that she does. Don't go anywhere, and I'll be right back with my guest. Hello, Collette Gee. What's up, sis?
Hello. I love that intro, and I'm so glad to be here. I've been listening to you, your voice, your stories. I love it. I love your podcast. I love your vibe. It's beautiful. Amazing. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. It's such a pleasure to host you on the podcast. And I am just curious, I'm here for the story, right? So I am here for the story. So normally, where we start, I just kind of ask trivia question, but I feel like your story is more interesting. It's going to be more interesting than any trivia question I can ask you right now. So let's just dive into it, right? So tell me, first of all, who is Collette Gee from your own mouth? How would you describe you?
Ooh, I would just say that I'm, a woman who overcame a lot of obstacles and a story. What we were talking about prior to beginning the show, I had a story. I was living under my story. I got sick of that story. I stayed on my story. I decided to use my story and elevate my voice and share that story with others to lift them and empower them from a space of love. And I do that through relationships. I'm a mom, I'm a grandmom, I'm a glam mom, my kids say. And I have five grandsons. The oldest one is going to be 13. The youngest one is going to be, or he is two, actually, he'll be three. And yeah, it's great. I'm married. I've been married more times than I care to mention on your show. But you can read about it in the book. And, my story is just all about, how do I spread love, beginning and ending with myself.
Wow, did you just say you are a glamour? Woo! Man, awesome stuff. I love it. Black don't crack. Did you hear that from me? I said black don't crack. Woo! Wow. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. Now, let us get into the story. And I need it to be be comfortable, but as deep as you can be. Like, what led you to this point where, like you mentioned, you said you've even gotten married more times than you want to say on the show. So that tells me a lot of story, a lot of back end stories there. And you're a grandma, right? So there is a lot of stories here. Can we start to unpack it? What is your story?
Yeah, so I got married very young because I became a young mother. And like any mom, new mom, I wanted to make it a complete family. So I got married very young, had a child very young, and I went through a very, very violent relationship with my first spouse. And to the degree where I was literally running homeless on the street with my kids, living in and out of homeless shelters, running from this man who was determined to end my life and made many attempts to do that. And it wasn't like I ever grew up seeing what a loving, healthy relationship looked like. My parents were divorced very young, so I didn't get to see love there. And my grandmother was the one that raised me, and I saw love from her. I saw love with her and her life partner, but it wasn't a conversation about what love is. I was a story about, well, I was abandoned, so I was an abandonment waiting to happen, and so somebody picked me up and said, hey, I'll rescue you. And because I was looking for love, so desperately looking for love and looking to be rescued, I wound up in this very horrible relationship. And so fast forward, it didn't end there. I escaped that relationship thinking, okay, I'm out of that, only to run into another relationship with a man who was a liar, a cheater, a deceiver, heartbreaker. And so there was the emotional and mental abuse. So I'm like, okay, what the heck is wrong with me? How did I wind up here? But still leaving that relationship because I'm still not falling in love and getting in touch with the real meaningful relationship with me yet. I get into another relationship with a man who was an addict. He wound up committing suicide. He died. And that relationship left me saying, okay, God, what is it about me? How am I winding up in all of these why am I making these choices? And what happens is I looked at myself because everywhere I was going within love and looking for love for all the right reasons, but in the wrong places, I realized that the common denominator was me. And I didn't really want to deal with that. I was like, it ain't me, but it was me because these were my choices to enter into these relationships, to stay in these relationships. And regardless of my lack of understanding or lack of education about love and relationships, it was my responsibility to figure out who it was that I was being to either attract these individuals or who was it that I was being to accept this type of love in my life. And that's when shift happened. I decided to have a long, meaningful relationship with just myself. And I was dating myself, romantically courting me, and building up my spiritual relationship with God and filling my voids with the Supreme and the Creator, and just learning who I was. And I had some really tough conversations with myself where I had to look in the mirror at myself. And there was a lot of crying, but a lot of healing and a lot of forgiveness. Forgiveness of myself for allowing myself to let myself down, let my children down, let others down, but also forgiveness of mom, dad, all the people that I felt let me down, my past partners, and releasing all of that and letting go, because it was time for me to begin again. And then I fast forward, met my current husband. And that's that. That is that. That is my story.
Wow.
3 daughters, 1 son, 5 grandsons, and my husband has 4 children. So we are a Brady Bunch 8. And
Wow.
and he has 2 grandchildren. So we have a large
It's a
family,
large family.
and our values are aligned. But I didn't know what that was all about until I came to a point of, what are my values? What do I believe in? What is the story that I want to live by? What are my, who am I? And who is it that this individual is going to meet? And I took the initiative in uh, reaching out to him, because before I would just wait for the guy to come to me and go, okay, well, this is my pickings, I might as well pick this. And it was like, wait a minute, I've chosen my career, I choose where I live, I choose all these things. It's time for you, Collette, to make
Choose.
choices.
Mm.
Choose responsibly, choose lovingly. And I did. And that's where the story is right now.
Yeah.
And I
Wow.
wanted to lift
Fantastic.
like other, yeah, I wanted to lift other women for primarily. And it was weird, when I started my business, it wasn't women that were coming to me, it was men. And I was like, what? Men? Okay, well, yeah, you guys do need the work. I do need to help fix you guys up, for the ladies out there.
Yeah. So when you came to yourself, because that's that's the word that came to me. I mean, I don't know if you're a Christian, but like I'm Christian, and I remember in the scripture, there was I can't remember who it was, but when he came to himself, he realized, okay, what's going on here? I love what you said. I am the common denominator. So I've got to pause and look within and say, okay, what is it that I'm either doing or not doing that is making me repel or attract? And I love that, because that's the self awareness. And that is exactly where healing begins. But would you say in that journey of healing, did you have help? If you did, what type of help did you have?
Because I spent so much time looking for other people to rescue me, to tell me who I was, to identify my own personal identity, I decided to take that journey alone. And it was just me and God. And it was really deep. There was no, I didn't go to some, workshop, or, read some book or anything. I just really got down and dirty and cleansed with prayer and meditation and healing, lots of forgiveness, lots of letter writing, forgive you, daddy, forgive you, mommy, forgive my ex partners, forgiveness, because I wanted to know what it was like to have compassion for myself. It was like I had neglected myself for so long. I couldn't even look in my own eyes without feeling ashamed. And I knew that meant I had to have some compassion, forgiveness. And it was a journey I was going to have to take alone, like Jesus did walking through the desert. It was me and God. That was it.
So, wow, that's so deep. That is so deep, and I love it. I love it. So when you went on this journey and you started to get, meet yourself and all of that, what was the hardest part of it for you? Because you've talked about forgiveness a lot, right? What was the hardest part of that journey for you? Was it forgiving others or forgiving yourself?
Forgiving myself. Um, I had been lying to myself for so long, telling myself I was unworthy, undeserving, unattractive, um, didn't deserve any better. I had convinced myself that I deserved to be mistreated, and that that story, that loop was going on unconsciously for so long, that when I began to do these affirmations, telling myself, you are beautiful, you are worthy, you are deserving, those things felt like lies. And I remember being at my church at the time, and I asked my the pastor, I said, why is it that when I start to affirm these affirmations to myself, they don't feel like the truth? They feel like I'm lying. And he said, that's because you've been lying to yourself for so long. You have to reintroduce yourself to yourself with a new story, affirming this new thing. And that took a long time. I'm welling up now, crying, because I felt like for a long time I was lying to myself. So as I did these affirmations and was learning to forgive myself, I hugged myself because the weeping was deep. I was like holding me, like, Collette, you're good. I'm here, because I had been alone, and also disconnected from the creator, from God, and I needed to forgive myself. That was the hardest part. I felt like I always forgave everybody else kind of easy, but myself, no
It's a
way.
tough
That was
one.
hard.
It's a tough one. I can only imagine. So now, how do you then help other people, go through this journey? How do you help people? Because when you say you're a breakup coach, what does that look like? And how do you really coach people out? Because this is in and out of relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the breakup coach came about. I started having a lot of clients come to me like, help me get out of this relationship. This guy won't let me go, or this woman won't let me go. And I'm like, what? And I got hit up by ABC, and they were asking me what I do. And I'm like, I'm a relationship specialist. I help people get into and out of relationships. But a lot of my clients come to me to help them break up. So they labeled me the breakup coach. And it just like kind of stuck with some other networks and television. I'm like, yeah, okay. Um, but breaking up is a harder to do. We easily jump into a relationship because our heart longs to be loved and to feel love and to share our love, right? But to get out, that's sometimes so hard. And even when we get out of a relationship, sometimes we're still connected to that relationship by bringing that past drama into the new relationship. So we never fully break up, right? Sometimes we are still dating the same person over and over and over again. So I help my clients through releasing and letting go through forgiveness. So I created a workbook that I was just using for my clients. I've published it since, called The Forgiveness Process. And I think that in order for us to truly release and let go, it has to be done through forgiveness, and then letting go of the story about who they were, the story about who we are, all that stuff. And we need to forgive ourselves and release and let go and create a new story. And the breakup process of it is like death and dying for us. Some, if you don't, how many of us, if like you lost your spouse or your partner, you don't run out there and quickly jump into a new
No.
relationship or new
Mm,
marriage.
mm.
But yet we do that when it comes to
Right.
relationships, like we're these serial monogamists, right? Or serial daters, and we just run from one relationship to
To
another. I sort
another.
of blame dating apps on that, like that make it so easy, like, oh, I'm going to get another one and another one and another one. And we never fully let go of the
Recover.
one that we exactly recovery.
Mm. Wow. I mean, woof. Now, I have another segment on the podcast that is for coaches. It's called the Coaching Corner. And I'm like, wait, where should I have brought you there instead? Because, a lot of people feel like, what do these coaches really do? They just talk. Like, no, they don't just talk. Because, man, this, and for you, with the way you shared your story, there is no way that it is not transformational for you, because you went through this period of healing, of letting go, of recovering, right? And when I asked if you had help, I was thinking, you say you worked with a therapist or that, but you're like, no, this was me, myself, and my God. Like, that is so, now I feel like this is a calling, and I'm so excited for you and what you do with your client. And I mean, all I can say at this point is I wish you all the very best. And I really do hope that, the people that you've been called to, the people that you've been sent to, the people why God allowed you go through all of those hard times, so that they can resonate with you, when you speak. And gosh, anyways, I just hope that, you are able to keep impacting those lives and they're able to find you. And I'm just so grateful that I get to have the opportunity to show you off to one person. I hope that one person watching this right now is going to look at this, see the story, hear the story, watch the story, whatever it is for you. And you're going to connect to the story and know that you don't have to die in that relationship. And you don't not, yes, something is wrong, but not that is something is wrong with you. Like, you are created and you are okay, but things have happened and you can work on it. Like, it's not a verdict. It's not a final verdict for you that you have to be the way you are now. If you're not fulfilled, if you're not happy, if you're not content with who you have become, you can change that. Collette did it, and you can too. And if you need help with that, then she's your go-to person. So Collette, if anybody wanted to speak to you, work with you, have you help them go through whatever it is that they're currently going through in their relationship, how do they do that as we round this off?
Oh, they can just visit me at findinghappily.com, and all my details and information is there on the website.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so guys, I'm going to leave the link to the website in the description of this video as well as of the audio. Please reach out. I know how it feels to be afraid of being judged, the guilt, the shame. I understand it, but do not let it stop you. Like, there is sweetness, because I don't know what to use again, in freedom, and it is possible. You can feel free. Look at her. After 3 people, she's settled now, happy with a large family. Gosh, this can be your story too. And it shouldn't end until you win, until you are happy, until you are who you are already created to be, but you're not yet experiencing. Please, please, please don't be quiet. Reach out. Reach out today. Reach out today. Reach out today. Reach out today. Thank you so much, Collette, for being here. I really appreciate you. I honor you. I celebrate you. Thank you for coming out with your story and for impacting other lives with, your experiences and what you've gone through. And like I said, I just wish you all the very best on the rest of your journey. And yeah, we stay in touch.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. God bless.
All right, guys. So this is it. This is where we draw the curtain on this episode today. I really do hope that you've learned 1 or 2 things. And if it really touched you, because I was touched, and I hope that somebody just one person. If you've listened to me well enough, you would know I'm a one-person person. So if you're that one person that this episode was for, please don't keep it to yourself. Reach out. You can reach out to me if you don't want to reach out directly, and I can do that connection for you. And yeah, if you want to talk as well, I'm here to listen. Okay. So you can always reach out to me, send me an email, reach out to me via social media. I mean, sometimes it really helps to talk as well. Till I come your way again with another woman sharing her story and how she is currently impacting our world. This is the energetic EJ, and this is the Afrocentrist podcast. And this segment is The Woman, Her Story, Her Impact. See you next week. Bye bye.